This first started when Pocono allowed a sponsor to come in. What about drivers? Are drivers using this? Well, absolutely. In fact, they are. And
I like to be high. 3Chi does wonders.
3, 2, 1.
What's up, everyone? Hope everybody out there has had an amazing week so far. The world of NASCAR can be a pretty wild one. And today I think I'm going to show you a few things that maybe some of you are going to say, man, I really never knew that happened. And we're going to discuss a lot of things, mainly cannabis and nicotine in NASCAR. By this I mean is sponsorship and also some use by some of the drivers of nicotine, because it's being called kind of a competitive advantage for different drivers. And we're gonna dive deeper into this, especially on the nicotine part, because if you caught my episode here just a couple weeks ago, it pertained to tobacco and NASCAR, or more so how it was removed from NASCAR, removed from all sports, and basically removed from all advertising. But what about nicotine? What about cannabis products? It's pretty wild what's happened with that. Now, at the end of the era of tobacco, especially Winston Cup and Winston involved in the NASCAR series, there was another sponsor that made its way in. And this was kind of an anti-tobacco product. This was Nicorette. If you take a look at this right here, you can see Casey Mears out there with his little minty car, pretty wild ride right there. And also this badass ride right here, Jeff Gordon's, slick ride right there, throwing the torch to the, not to the cigarettes, let's just say that. And also, this one right here that, just take a look.
Back when I was a smoker, I used to light up in the car all the time, even before I turn on the ignition. I know what you're thinking. I didn't know Dale Jr. was a smoker, but I was. And the reason you didn't know is because I was pretty good at hiding it.
Now, I know for a lot of you people, that probably comes as a little bit of a shocker right there. Many other people know, because obviously Dale Jr. was very vocal, very public about this. But yes, Dale Jr. was a smoker, and as he said, he hit it really well. And I can attest to this because I was around Junior on commercial shoots back when he was smoking. And obviously, he did. He hit it really, really well. So, but congratulations to Dale for finally getting past all that and for a healthy future with you. I want to first start out talking now about the cannabis products here, the CBD products in NASCAR, because it's a very interesting story, because this first started when Pocono allowed a sponsor to come in. NASCAR allowed to sponsor. This was the Pocono Organic CBD 325. And with that, RCR got to work because they realized there's a possibility here for some other sponsorships. And they were able to do, work their magic and get 3Chi in there on the side of that car. And the reason for this is because it's legal. It passed the test because the way the federal rules are, it has less than 0.3% THC. It's legal. And been a pretty prominent sponsor for RCR. And primarily over there with Kyle Busch. And when Kyle Busch was first getting out there, let's take a listen to his interview before the LA Coliseum Clash.
The only one, to go down in history that ever successfully did it, where it really mattered and it really paid off.
Jordan, feels better, eh? Just get here whenever you can, man.
I got 3Chi, bro.
Say that into the microphone.
I like to be high. 3Chi does wonders.
Jordan Bianchi, the athletic.
Drug test, 3 o'clock.
Now, obviously, Kyle Busch is just playing this up for a sponsor because the thing about this is that they wouldn't pass the drug test if he was actually using those products like that. So hopefully he's just using some lotions and things of that nature to get through with this. But the interesting thing about this is that just because they were approved for the sponsorship doesn't mean everything was approved with 3Chi. And if you take a look at this right here, this was a released paint scheme that 3Chi wanted on the side of that car, but was not allowed to. And the reason why was because of the leaf on the side of the car, something that NASCAR said, no, we're not going to have out there. And take a look at this driving suit. This is a pretty herbal suit right here. Let's just say that. It's a pretty wild suit that he had. But NASCAR was not cool with that. Now, this car right here with the gold emblem, good. Even though it symbolizes let's just say a pot leaf, That's good, but the pot leaf, no. But what's interesting about this is not the first time that a cannabis company had tried to enter into the NASCAR series. Now, you got to go back to 2010, the K&N series. Planet Cannabis TV attempted to sponsor a race car out there, and they even made this snazzy commercial. But even at that point, NASCAR said, no, we're not going to have this, so never made its way onto the racetrack. And now this brings me to Carl Long. Now, Carl Long, he was suspended from NASCAR, from the Cup Series in 2009, for running a motor at the All-Star race that was just a little bit over tolerance. And he was fined $200,000 with that. And unfortunately for Carl, small team could not pay the fine, so he was just suspended, wasn't able to race. But then in 2017, he got some backing, and he was ready to be back out there. And again, some minimal backing. So much, in fact, that Carl actually drove his own transporter to the race at Kansas. But the problem was when he showed up at the racetrack, he had the sponsor on the car. And this was Veedverks. I believe it's a Denver-based company that apparently is legal in all 50 states. But this was the problem with this, is that when Carl wrote out his application for everything, he listed the sponsor as Veedverks and an electronic cigarette. So NASCAR was not able to do any research to find anything. So originally they allowed it. But once they saw that hood, they said, no, we're not doing this. And that brings me over to Natalie Decker. She was attempting to run Xfinity race at Talladega, had diesel beverages on the car, which is a CBD-based drink. But unfortunately for her, it was a last-minute deal. NASCAR was not able to do their testing on it or anything to see what it was. And apparently, it really doesn't contain any THC levels at all. So just a matter of time, because NASCAR has these requirements. It's got to pass testing. It's got to do everything that it needs to do to be approved. Now, let's take a look at nicotine. So now nicotine is back in NASCAR and sponsoring different rides out there. As I mentioned, the Ty Dillon car out there at number 10, cool looking ride. And this is an affiliate of RJ Reynolds. So in a cool way, RJ Reynolds getting back involved with NASCAR. Kyle Busch himself had Zone out there, Zone nicotine pouches on the side of his car. Badass ride right there. And you got to look at it. I mean, Kyle Busch has got Rebel Whiskey, Zone nicotine pouches, 3 Chi. That's the most party car out there on the racetrack. So just a wild thought to have with that. But also you got to look at Patrick Emerlin. He had Sesh nicotine pouches on the side of his car. And the interesting thing about this to me right here is if you take a look at this quarter panel, you can see that big warning on the side right there. And I'm pretty sure that's what's on the side of this Ty Dillon car right there below the window. Obviously putting these big warnings out, even though it's being allowed back in to the series. And then also this right here, 21, another nicotine pouch car that was out there. So, I mean, there's been different ones that came into the sport. And obviously it's continuing to grow right now. But here's the question. What about drivers? Are drivers using this? Well, absolutely. In fact, they are. And big to do about Tyler Reddick using it here last year. And obviously you can take a look right here and see that he was using it. So the question is, what's the deal with this? Why are drivers using this? Is there something to it? Well, for that, let's take a look at, what it says. Cognitive performance. Nicotine may improve attention, short-term memory, working memory, and response time. Motor skills. Nicotine may improve motor responses and fine motor skills. Mental functioning. Nicotine may improve vigilance and information processing. Now, with that said, don't go out there and grab a nicotine pouch just because I read you that. Do your own research and understand that nicotine is very addictive. So what are your thoughts on this? Do you think that nicotine could be an advantage to a driver out there? Do you think it's something that's going to grow? I mean, is this something that's going to become more popular in the sport with sponsorships? And what about the cannabis products, the CBD products? I mean, we got to look at this. This is something that we talk about a lot. There's an older demographics of NASCAR fans, and then there's a new demographic that's coming in. And by studies, a lot of people are consuming CBD products. So is it something that NASCAR is going to really have to look into more to lure in people like this? And is it something that these products are going to look at NASCAR more to go, this is a better avenue for us to get our products out there, especially associating with drivers. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with this in the future. But anyways, as always, man, I want your thoughts down here below. How do you feel about this? Is it something cool to you? You think it don't need to be there? Is this the future of NASCAR? Because sponsorship money is what makes it go around, and obviously sponsorship money is welcome. So it's kind of wild that the old tobacco days are gone, but now we're getting a new nicotine day today. Anyways, as always, I hope you're having a great week out there, and we'll see you at the checkered flag.